You're listening to Three Makes Baby, a podcast about fertility, family, and genetics. I'm Jana Repnow, a fertility counselor and author of Three Makes Baby. Welcome to the show. Hi, everyone. I'm back today with a new podcast episode and a special guest with me. I have Eric Carver with me. He's a general manager of medical electronic I think I said that wrong. Systems. You can correct me, Eric. But also responsible for the test I'm excited about called Sperm. So thanks for being here today, Eric. And you get to answer some of my questions, which I'm excited.
Great. Thank you so much for having me.
And did I say that
Yeah.
right?
Okay. Yeah. Medical Electronic Systems is the parent company, and then our at-home solution is Home Sperm Test.
Okay, very good. The sperm test came across, my radar at some point, and I thought I gotta check into this. First of all, the name is really catchy. I think that maybe that's what caught my eye is like Sperm. It's just really clear. How did you guys come up with the name for the test?
It started originally as kind of a rumor going around the company that there was a Japanese fertility god named Yo.
Oh.
And then also we wanted something real easy to remember, catchy, and just, something that's going to stick with people and not be overcomplicated.
Absolutely. And it so is. And when I started looking more into it, what I really liked about it is it had a very clinical feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
And my husband is actually in the lab business. And so we know a lot about testing and just laboratory testing. And what I've learned from him is that he said that, there's a lot, you have to be careful with what's on the market, that it's an actual one valid test, but two, that the test results are giving you information that you can make decisions based on, which, is important. And the more research I did on your test, the more I found that all of that was backed up, that, this was clinically significant, that it was useful information, and we can get all into that. And then of course I've talked to Dr. Omertag and Ken Omertag over at WashU, and he also backs it. And I know he's always clear about saying he's a paid consultant, but he's also very clinical, and he's not going to back something that he doesn't believe in. And talking with him, I just gained more confidence in the test. And so I was really excited when I could talk to you and learn more about it. So I have a ton of questions. I hope you're ready.
Sure.
But I love that Japanese fertility god and the Sperm, and I also think just the packaging is really well done. It's very concise and clear. So I think the first question, or the first reason that I would say at-home sperm testing is even, relevant or needed, is because let's just face it, it's embarrassing for guys to many times to go and talk about this, let alone go in and have it tested in a doctor's office. I've been in this field a long time. I'm used to talking about it. But listen, I can remember 10 years ago when I first started talking about it, even with clients, it kind of was hard to come out of my mouth just to say, sperm, or, it was uncomfortable. And so sometimes I lose track of the fact that this is still very uncomfortable for many men and women to talk about. Is that what you found the need for this test was, that, people could do it in the comfort of their own home?
Yeah, absolutely. It's an easy first step doorway to walk through when you're trying to discover if maybe there's a fertility challenge. So, generally a woman's going to purchase this for a husband, we've found, and it allows it to take off some of the pressure. They can do it at home together. It's fast, it's easy, it's 100% private. So you're never sending the information to us. You can download the app, kill your internet connection, run the test, and then you have your results right there. You also get a video of the sample. So you're not just putting it in a black box or sending it through a window in a doctor's office. You actually get to see your own sperm, learn a little bit about them along the way. And as you say, just, lower the pressure a little bit on that first step. And, with all the different reasons that may exist for infertility, the semen analysis is such an easy one to screen out. It's not expensive. It's not a long-term thing where you're having to go in for follow-ups. You're not drawing blood. It's very easy, and we try to make it more accessible with our at-home solution, particularly now with the COVID-19 business. A
Absolutely.
lot of folks just can't get to a doctor's office or a hospital right now for this kind
Hmm.
of a test. So,
So
it's
true.
a very easy solution to kind of start taking steps towards,
Towards your
pregnancy.
fertility.
Yeah,
That's right. And feels like it gives you this feeling of empowerment, like you're actually doing something.
sure,
And, we know that women have for years now have used at-home ovulation kits,
sure.
at-home pregnancy tests. It's nice to see something on the market that's available for men. And I like what you said about that they can do it in privacy and they can do it in the comfort of their own home,
You got it.
because it's not easy for a guy to have to go to a clinic and provide a specimen in the sterile environment. It's difficult. So I think, Dr. Umertag said that you can take the results in to your doctor, and they're going to want to do a full workup, because it does not replace a full workup, but it's great information for your doctor to share with them. So yeah, or your wife can take it in. If the guy doesn't want to take the results in, do they the video you can just provide the video and give that to your
Yeah.
doctor, or
So
um,
if you choose to do so, you can actually share the results as a packet. So you could email the video, your modal sperm count, and then also your Yo score, which is a quality ranking compared to other men who have fathered a child. That is one little packet can be sent to a professional or to somebody else. Again, it can be totally private if you want to, but if you
mhm,
choose to share it, you can
mhm.
right over email.
Yeah.
And to harpen back on your point, it is definitely not a replacement for a complete semen analysis. It's not supposed to be. It is that first step, though, that you can take at home in private just to kind of learn where you're at as you get
Mhm.
started.
Yeah. Yeah, and so tell me a little bit about the company and,
Hmm.
where you're based, first of all. Where are you?
Sure. We're based in Los Angeles, California.
Mhm.
We've been in business in America since about 2002. We also have some international offices around the world. Yo Home Sperm Test is about 3 years old, and some of the nice credit that you gave us as far as our accuracy in taking this serious from a clinical perspective comes from our parent company, which is Medical Electronic Systems. We make clinical grade laboratory analyzers for the Kaisers, LabCorps, Quest Diagnostics of the world. So we have 15 years experience and over 400 customers automated with our commercial grade solutions. And that's the technology, expertise, the focus that we brought to the Yo product. We're not just a startup. We've actually been in the
Mhm.
semen analysis business for 20 years now.
That's wonderful. And I remember Dr. Omertaga saying the same thing, this that you had that experience in in clinics and with the actual full workup that they would
Right.
do if they were to go in their office, which is great because then you could use those same parameters
Right.
to apply to your at-home direct to consumer test and
Sure.
make sure it's consistent
Well,
with
no,
what they're
yeah.
yeah.
Another aspect of the test is improvement. So it's not replacing a full semen analysis, but it can be used as a nice device to track improvement. So we've got a
Hmm.
measurement called Yo score, which compares you to other men who have fathered a child. Let's say you're a 10 or a 20, that means you're ranking above 10 or 20% of
Hmm.
men.
Hmm.
There's an opportunity to make lifestyle changes. As you know, you
Hmm.
can quit
Yeah.
smoking, drinking, drop some weight, exercise, stay hydrated, avoid heat, lots of other things. So we not only
Yeah.
provide those recommendations, we also provide multiple tests so you can track that over time and work to improve.
That's a great point. Because your one-time analysis of your semen and your sperm, it doesn't stay static. It doesn't stay the
Correct.
same. It changes every month, and it changes over the years. So I know my doctors will say that if you've been able to, uh, your girlfriend's gotten pregnant or something like
Mhm.
that, and then years later, you're married and you think, oh, well, I got my girlfriend pregnant, decade ago or so, that doesn't necessarily mean anything. You really
Sure.
need to still look at your sperm again, because so much can change over time. So yeah,
Yeah.
I like that they can use it for, over time to see if they're making progress. Like you said, during COVID, they could take this time while their procedures are not being allowed
Sure.
to move forward. They could usually, take this time to make those lifestyle changes, track the progress, and really get themselves in shape to, if they're needing to do ICSI or an IUI or anything like that. ICSI is a procedure where you take a sperm, the best quality sperm, and for what Dr. Omertag says, the one that
Mm-hmm.
swims to the top, really.
Yep.
And you inject that in an egg. And so if you're really wanting to make sure you have good quality sperm and you have an ICSI coming up, this would be a great time to do that. So there are
Sure.
things that you can do to empower yourself in your fertility.
On your note of getting healthy from home, you could get yourself potentially from a lower range of normal up into a higher range of normal, maybe have an opportunity to do an IUI procedure instead of ICSI, potentially. Also, if you're
Mhm.
stopping treatments such as um, hair replacement therapy, testosterone replacement therapy, if you're a competitive athlete using steroids, men who have had vasectomies and now are getting them reversed,
Mhm.
these are all areas where an at-home test is also convenient.
Also, what about with varicocele? If you
Yep.
had a surgery,
Yep.
or
Absolutely.
varicocele, your sperm rates can change. So it might be nice to monitor that rather than having to go to the doctor's office to do it. How many tests do they get in a kit if they were to order a kit? Let's talk a little bit
Yeah.
about the kit and the pricing and things like that.
Sure. The kit comes with 2 tests off the bat. That's the minimum you should do to back up your results. But then we also sell affordable retest kits where you can get 2 or 4 additional kits. And the little Yo device itself will continue to operate up to 100 tests.
Yeah,
No,
that's
no
good.
one will do that many tests with it, but it's durable for that length.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah. So I got a kit and you sent me one several weeks ago. And I like how it comes in. You've got the little device that plugs into your phone or your
Hmm.
computer. It's kind of like a square
Hmm.
box. It's really small though. And then the packet that has the slide and the powder solution and maybe a little dropper. And then you've got the plastic cup. So you've got all these components to it. It's really, once you download the app, it leads you through how to use the test. Of course, I couldn't take it any further, but I did just really like the usability. I got on the app and could see that, while you're waiting for your test results, you can take a little quiz about sperm health and
Yeah.
about sperm. I thought that was so clever.
Yeah.
There were lots of
Learn something
questions,
along
and
the way.
tell us, like, tell me a little more
Yeah.
about that. And yeah.
Yeah. So the test is $69.95, and again, it comes with 2 tests. So it's a very affordable price point compared to going to a laboratory straight away to get a semen analysis.
What is the price at a lab? Do you
100
know?
and $100 to $200 typically,
Okay. Okay.
plus the inconvenience of having to go take a day off work, collect
Yeah.
in public, wait 2 days for your results.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of advantages.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the information about sperm, is that something, when you're educating and you're
Hmm.
taking the little quiz, is that, it gives you tips on how you can improve your sperm health? Questions about, I thought it was clever. There was a question about how many calories does a guy burn when he's having intercourse? And then there's things like, can men father children for their entire life? And there's even questions about women and their egg production. So lots you can learn about fertility just while you're waiting on this clever app. So I really liked that part.
Yeah, awesome.
Is there anything interesting you could share? I'm going to put you on the spot now, but of all that, I mean, I literally spent like 5 minutes looking through it, and there were lots of questions I didn't even get to, or lots of like little trivia answers and questions I didn't even get to the end of it. Is there anything like,
Uh,
what's the most interesting fact or funny?
well, the one that just popped to mind is in some of the World War I, World War II, you could actually write out secret messages with semen, with sperm,
Oh,
and it would dry clear, but then it would glow under a UV light.
oh,
So you
and
could
then
actually transport a document with secret information written in
wow,
sperm, and
yeah.
and you always have an inkwell ready to go, right? If you're in the field.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That is very fascinating. I love that. See, I mean,
That's
that's the
that's a
kind
good
of
one.
thing. Yeah, that's a great one. I mean, that we should have led with that. And
Yeah,
maybe I will when I post it on social media. I'll lead with that little interesting fact because that's the kind of stuff that grabs people's attention
yeah.
and
And
makes them realize that. Not only the humorous aspects and creative ways that people do things, but just lightens the whole feel around a very serious topic
Mm-hmm.
that historically has been kind of filled with shame for men.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that my message is to sort of try to demolish that,
Yeah.
try to get rid of those feelings of shame around sperm production, because while it's been tied to masculinity, that does not do any service for men and for their offspring, because when sperm donation, for example, first started, they told men to keep it a secret because they were
Mm-hmm.
trying to protect their masculinity. And then the children were affected because they weren't told, and later in life found out their biological father wasn't their father that raised them, and just a whole layer of kind of problems that creates.
Yep.
They call it toxic masculinity. And so I think that talking about it in this way helps kind of lift that,
Mm-hmm.
and just allows men to have a different attitude about it in general. Fertility and infertility is a medical problem, and it has nothing to do with how much of a man you are. In fact,
That's right.
I thought it was interesting. There's a little factoid in your app that asked the question, do men who take testosterone produce more sperm? And
Mm-hmm.
the answer is
No,
yeah,
quite the opposite, which is a little counterintuitive, right?
that's right. You would
Yeah,
think.
you would think. Yeah. No, it does. That will lower sperm counts. Even I've had customers using Yo that send videos before and after, and it can be pretty dramatic. It's not
Wow.
just a few less sperm; it can be like 50% lower quality. So, if you're looking to conceive, it's time to knock that off, along with some of the other lifestyle activities.
Would you say smoking is the biggest thing that you can change if you're trying to increase your fertility as a man?
Once you get past the obvious things like stopping hair treatment, testosterone replacement, steroids, when you get past all of that stuff, then probably the smoking, the drinking
Hmm.
are up there near the top.
Are they?
Diet and weight are also a big deal.
Okay.
Can
And
be.
let's talk about marijuana use, because I know that's,
Hmm.
it's legal in some areas. So, um, how do you have any data on that, or is that something you even broach that topic
I've
at all?
seen, yeah,
Hmm.
I've seen studies on both sides of the aisle with it.
Okay.
I
Okay.
think I think the general consensus leads towards it's not gonna help.
Yeah.
So for the man or for the woman, it
Hmm.
might not be the most detrimental thing in the world, but it's not necessarily going to improve your odds. So,
Yeah. Okay.
with when you're trying to reproduce, there's all these little things you can do, and in combination, they can add up to something.
Hmm.
Also, if you just look at some of the kind of secondary um, things it can bring up, such as maybe being impotent a little bit more often, not
Okay.
having the same drive just for the physical intercourse. There's kind of like secondary things about it, I would say. But some of that's just casual stuff from different studies I've put together. It's just a
Okay.
feeling more than clinical data. But
Yeah.
I would say I've seen too much on both sides like
To say for
put out
certain.
exactly to put
Yeah.
out like an official statement on behalf of Yo or
Yeah.
anything like that.
Sure. I totally understand it and respect that. This may be too clinical of a question,
Hmm.
but do you know if some of these lifestyle choices that can be harmful to fertility, do they interfere with motility, which is the movement, the shape of the sperm, or do they go into and do any DNA damage? Do we know that level of detail?
Yes, there are studies on everything you just mentioned related to certain things, but it's always from what I've found reading the materials on the different morphology, motility in particular, there will be, if you're doing this particular activity, it can affect it 10%, but it's in a sample pool of 400 guys in Australia, let's say.
Hmm.
And then there's going to be data from India with 1,000 people, and it affected concentration more doing this certain thing. So
Hmm.
I guess overall health and wellness is more what we recommend because
Hmm.
studies show overall that it's probably going to assist with your count, motility, and morphology, the big three.
Hmm.
Also at DNA levels, changes
Hmm.
are possible,
Okay.
and none of these activities are going to help, right?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
if you're
Hmm.
really trying to get pregnant, all these little things can add up, and particularly if both the man and the woman are participating and participating together in them, if they're an involved couple.
Yeah. Yeah. A couple other maybe myths or
Hmm.
misunderstandings to clear up, and just tell me if this isn't your area.
No, sure.
One, a lot of people are confused with azoospermia.
Hmm.
Azoospermia is a condition in which there are just zero sperm,
Hmm.
and a man maybe at birth didn't ever produce sperm, or there's an obstruction that causes zero sperm, various things, and they don't know everything yet about it.
Hmm.
But there is a misconception that if there is zero sperm, that there is zero semen and that nothing comes out. And I've had many men say, yeah, my mother-in-law asked me if there's anything that can't come, does anything come out? So I think
Yeah.
it's important. And I know we take things sometimes for granted that people understand, but there's a difference
Hmm.
between semen and sperm. Can you explain
Sure.
that a bit?
Sure, the semen is the ocean, and then the sperm are the people in the ocean. And there's other stuff in the semen also. There's white blood cells and skin cells and blood cells. There's other stuff in there. The sperm are the primary people in there. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, just because stuff is coming out, quote unquote, that doesn't necessarily mean there's enough sperm in the semen.
That's important to clarify, because I think
Hmm.
maybe some guys think, well, stuff's coming out, so I've got
Right.
sperm, and that's not necessarily true. You can still, have that, but not have
Sure.
your fertility rate can be low.
For a man that has a vasectomy, for example, he's still going to be able to produce semen,
Yeah.
but he will be azoospermic.
And then what about volume? Does
Hmm.
volume of the ejaculate have any correlation to fertility rates?
It can, of course. The World Health Organization publishes a set of reference ranges that's kind of like our Bible in the semen analysis world. So your volume should be above 1.5 ml, which is about a teaspoon worth.
Yeah.
And it's pretty easy to tell if you're under that. Some folks will have just a very, very small amount of semen, but again, it doesn't mean you can't get pregnant. It's just
Mm-hmm.
one of the factors. So
Okay.
you're looking
Okay.
at volume, you're looking at the motile sperm count, and then we rank the quality as well with yo up front. Then, based on your results, your lifestyle, where you are in your pregnancy journey, a full lab would get into the morphology, which is the size and the shape. They'll get into velocity, so not just are they swimming, how fast are they swimming, all kinds of other tests.
Yeah. Can you tell us a picture of
Sure.
what they might see with the at-home test with Yo Sperm test
Yeah,
on their phone?
yeah,
Yeah, what it looks like?
sure. If you've never seen sperm before, I mean, you could Google it real quick. But I guess to me, I would say it looks like a bunch of tadpoles would be
Mm-hmm.
the best description.
Mm-hmm.
So they're definitely alive. They're active. They're moving around. They're going in different directions. They bump into each other. They're a living population of cells.
Yeah.
And they really remind me of tadpoles personally. If you've ever been to
Yeah.
the stream and you see them swimming around, it's a lot
Yeah.
like that.
And that's what will show on your phone or your computer
Yeah.
if you use the test at home. And it's almost like looking through a microscope slide.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what it is. There's a small
Yeah.
microscope lens inside of the Yo testing device and a light source. So
Yeah.
you fill a slide, pop it in, it magnifies it 100 times, records
Mm-hmm.
you, and we can digitally increase the magnification as well.
Mm-hmm.
Then it gives you about a 30-second video of your sample, and you can even digitally expand it by swiping on the screen. So you can go take a peek at them sperm by sperm.
That's pretty cool.
Just set everybody's expectations. It's not a full high resolution microscope like a laboratory would use,
Like,
right?
yeah.
It's adapted for home use. It's to give you a general reference, but you
Yeah.
see them pretty good. You could tell if they're there. You can see how they relate to the results that the device told you.
Kind of like your microscope in science class and your
Yeah,
science lab.
there you go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
It's not a
exactly. But
$10
you don't
million
have to
microscope.
you don't have to adjust the settings or try
Right,
to,
exactly.
yourself. It's all done for you, which is kind of
Exactly.
nice. And how are there ways you can mess up the slide? Because I remember in science class myself, messing up a slide and there's nothing on there but water.
Uh-huh.
What are some common errors that people use with that home test that you can maybe give people a heads up?
Sure. Great question. Thank you for asking it. You can. This test takes a little time and focus. It's not something you're just gonna spend 2 minutes on, right? So you want to follow the instructions carefully. And to your point, when loading the slide, the biggest thing is making sure the sample is liquefied. So
Mhm.
when a man ejaculates, his sample is going to tend to be kind of thick, clumpy, sticky. Now,
Mhm.
normally over a half hour to an hour, it'll tend to what we call liquefy, where it'll become more like watery.
Mhm.
We include a special powder that'll handle that liquefaction in about 10 minutes. So
Mhm.
it's part of the test. That's actually where you see the trivia challenges when you're waiting that 10 minutes for the liquefaction to occur.
Yeah.
So it's really important that you just focus on that. Make sure that you are allowing it to liquefy all the way. The sample will turn pink when it's ready. And then when you put the drop onto the slide, you just got to make sure the little chamber is filled. And if it doesn't fill the first time, add another drop, it'll fill for you. And then
When you say
probably, yeah.
chamber, what is the chamber?
So it's like you mentioned the lab slide. So if anyone who's fixed a lab slide before, you've got a piece of glass, you put a little sample on it, then you put another piece of glass on top of it.
Mhm.
So our the top cover, the cover slip, is actually fixed to the glass, and then there's a little hole where you put the sample, and it'll
Oh,
suck the
uh-huh.
sample into that testing area
And that's the
of the
chamber?
slide. Yeah, it's a little triangle viewing port, let's call it, on
Yeah.
the slide.
And you'll be able to see if it's full or not
Uh-huh.
with your own eye? Okay.
Yeah, because
So
it's
you just
pink.
make sure it's full and it's not there's no little gaps in that
Yep.
area.
You
Okay.
got it. And then the only other error I've seen here and there is people putting it in upside down. So
Oh.
we wrote on the slide, this side up, but just make sure you
Mhm.
put it in right side up. And these
Mhm.
are rare. We're talking 1 in 100 type of errors, but just things to keep an eye out for.
Yeah. And then you put it in the right way
Yep.
and then the app
Yeah.
there's nothing you have to click on. It sort of does it for you. It just opens it up for you.
Yeah. At that
Yeah.
stage, once you pop it in, you just say test now and you just wait. Don't touch the unit. You should have your phone in airplane mode. You don't want the phone uh, ringing right during the test.
Oh,
So just keep
okay.
it offline while you're running the test, so it's
Okay. That's
vibration
good to
free.
know.
And yeah,
Mhm. Yeah. Is there a instructional video on
yeah.
YouTube or anything? Okay.
In the app on
Mhm.
YouTube, there's printed instructions. So
Okay.
the first thing you can do if you download the app, there's a How Yo Works, which walks you through the entire thing in video format.
Mhm.
So most of our customers will watch that first. It's about 5 minutes. It's kind
Okay.
of a visual representation of all the steps.
Okay, good. And then customer service, should they need it? What's the best way to get help?
Sure. Right through the application, there's a troubleshooting button that'll take you to a case submission on our website, and then we've got our phone number there also, and you can reach out to us. Also, anytime, just support@yospermtest.com.
Mhm.
We're available.
Okay. So yeah, and you just respond by email
Yep.
to any.
Yep.
Okay, great, great. And then if someone were to, and I'm sure you have great customer service. So if you were
Yep.
to, if you're out there and you're using the test and you were to make an error, and don't
Yep.
worry, just call them up. They'll help you out. They'll,
Yep.
whatever you need. I'm sure. Don't stress too much if
No.
because I know that it's $69. I'm giving out a coupon code. Thank you for offering that to me
Sure.
to
My
give to
pleasure.
my followers and listeners for the test for $5 off. And that if you use the code JANA, JANA 5. And so that will help a little, but it is it's a sum of money for people to spend. So I know that good customer service is important, and it sounds like you guys really have that. So that's great.
Yes, we do. If you mess up a test, we can send you another one. It's not oh, you bought it, now it's all on you. We
Yeah.
we take pride in the product. We've got 20 years history supporting the largest clinical labs in the country and in the world. So we're bringing that level of support to our home test as well.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. And it can be used, I wanted to say this
Sure.
too, on an iPhone,
Uh-huh.
Android, Mac, PC.
Yeah.
Anything I've missed?
No, basically any Android device, which covers a wide range of brands, of
Yeah.
course. And
Yeah.
then iPhones. The one iPhone we don't have yet is the 11.
Okay.
The coronavirus slowed us down a little bit on that
Sure.
release, but in the next month or two, that'll be available. But for those that have an 11, 11 Pro, all those good things, you can, if you have access to a PC or a Mac, the same kit will work with that. So
Yeah. Great. Anything else that we maybe missed talking about the test or sperm in general, or male infertility? Do you find guys use it for any other reason besides infertility, the test?
Um, I wouldn't call it. They use it for fertility, I
That's
would say.
true, for
So
fertility.
I've
Yeah, good
seen
point.
I've seen men who are looking to get married or looking to start a family, and they take the test with a serious eye towards, can I, get my partner pregnant, and then stay in touch with me as they're actually working to improve. So it's not just lip service. The improvement recommendations in the app and then using the Yo score to track them is very legitimate for people. Like I've had
Hmm.
people that have old phones when they upgraded, the information won't transfer over phone to phone because it's completely private. We're not storing it on the cloud, but they'll ask me, I did all these Yo tests back in the day. Like I want all my results, so people take it
Nice.
seriously as a long-term project of
For
improvement.
sure. I think it's important. I'm glad you made that clarification. Um, I speak a lot to you just younger men
Hmm.
and being more aware of their fertility.
Sure.
One Some conditions like varicocele can
Yeah.
develop and worsen over time.
There you
So,
go.
for example, you can be fertile at a certain age, but if your varicocele isn't caught, or you don't freeze your sperm, or you can become infertile. So if you catch that early, you can really avoid a lot of heartache and pain and money and procedure and time, um, if you are proactive with your fertility
There you
for
go.
yourself as a couple. Male infertility, I did ask Dr. Omertag.
Hmm.
He says we don't know for sure yet, but it does appear as if it's on the rise.
Yep.
And we don't know why. Could be environmental, could be just where we're doing more testing. It's just hard to know. But regardless, it does speak to the fact that young men should take charge of their fertility and not make assumptions, and certainly not use this toxic masculinity like,
Uh-huh.
oh, I'm not going to have a problem, because that does not serve you in the long run. When the time comes to have a family, you have problems, you can be proactive and avoid a lot of heartache. So I think that's why I'm super excited about tests like this, to give that power to some guys. But again, remember, it's a screening only.
Yep.
So remember that even if you do, everything's fine, you still want to keep on top of it, like you said, keep testing. And then, when it is time to become pregnant, don't hesitate to get a test if your doctor
Right.
recommends it.
Yep.
And then, but it's being a screening means that it can show you if something is wrong or is of a concern, and then you can go pursue that at a younger age and either get it fixed through, there's sometimes treatment that can help, or lifestyle changes. And so that's really when screening is, when it's meant to show you something's off, and then you can
Right.
pursue it further. Yeah.
And think about a situation where a couple has been trying, let's say, 4 or 5 months to get pregnant. They're not able to do so. She's predicting her ovulation. She's taken the pregnancy test. She's going through all the steps, taking the vitamins. Then, after all that, it was just a matter of a low sperm count, which could have
Hmm.
been found out in 10 minutes, 6 months
Absolutely.
before. So that time to pregnancy, depending on your age in particular,
Mhm.
6 months can be a really big deal.
Matters. It
Yeah, it
does.
does matter.
Absolutely.
Jenna,
So true.
I had a question for you.
Yeah.
With the women you speak with, how many are aware of the semen quality issue? I'm curious.
It depends on that. If you would have asked me that 10 years ago,
Uh-huh.
it would have been a lot less.
Hmm.
There Here recently, within the past 2 years,
Hmm.
there's been a lot more awareness and testing for the husbands. But prior to that, you're right. Women went through testing maybe even up to a year before
Right.
their husbands were even brought into the picture.
Crazy.
It is.
It's crazy.
Hmm. A lot of time wasted. And
Yeah.
so there's still education that needs to be done out there to have a simple semen test done, and right away, just to make sure that's not an issue before the woman has to go through so much. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's super important. Absolutely. Well, I'm really excited about this as a topic. I excited about empowering people, giving them resources at their fingertips, taking some of the pain and suffering out of this, and some of the awkwardness, for people to be able to do it in their homes is fantastic. So if anybody is Well, yeah. How do you get the test? That's, I guess we'll end with
Sure.
that.
It's on Amazon, eBay. It's on our website, which is www.yospermtest.com. If you want to email questions to me directly, I can be reached at support@yospermtest.com. So I'm always happy to speak with you about it, what it means, how it works, anything else you need. But the website, Amazon, eBay are our largest outlets.
Yeah, just to make sure you're getting the right product. There shouldn't be any copycats or on the market, but it's a white packaging with red and black writing.
There you go.
Yeah, very good, awesome. Well, thank you. This was
Thank you
this is
so
so
much.
helpful. I've
Fun.
learned some stuff today.
Yeah, me too.
Thanks for listening. If you would like to follow for more content, you can go to my Instagram and Facebook account at Jana Repnow LPC, or follow 3 Makes Baby on Instagram. You can get a copy of my book and the companion workbook to 3 Makes Baby on Amazon. If you like this podcast, be sure to like and subscribe. Have a great day.